Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting your first job and being a junior developer. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a little bit of a story, but it went something like, hey Frederick, I thought I was going to send you a programming question since I watched your YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I've just graduated as a Java developer and I've noticed that it's practically impossible to get any job. And it of course makes the corona situation is of course making the whole thing much worse. And I've been following along in the job ads for the past few months, and I've started to notice the trend that nobody's looking for junior developers and everybody's looking for people with some type of experience within the industry. And in the beginning of things, I thought that my 6 months of internshipping would have counted towards me having experience, but it seems that that's not the case. What I'm confused about is that I've heard that there's a big demand for developers, but is that only for people who have some type of experience? And how do I get people to notice me on the job market? Is this just because am I weird? Is something wrong with me? Or is it just the effect of the coronavirus? So the short answer is this is not weird and the coronavirus is not helping, but this is completely normal. Let me explain. So the rumor that you have heard, which is hopefully that hey, there's a golden age of software engineering and IT going on, because this is supposed to be the IT age, is absolutely true. It's 100% true. There is an enormous demand for software developers. In fact, it's so crazy that if you have just a above average, I would say, profile within software engineering, you're pretty much never going to have to look for a job. You will get more job offers than you can handle. It is insane. Even the developers I know that spend absolutely no time on LinkedIn or any type of social media or anything like that are getting regular offers or like requests from different recruiters. So the demand is definitely there. What this person is noticing, however, is that there is a fine print to that whole thing, and that is if you have the experience. Because if you are a junior developer straight out of college, you are practically worthless to the industry. Like you have practically no market value. It is as if you didn't know anything. I'm very sorry to say, and that sucks. It sucks really, really bad because that's the gate that we all have to go through. I had to go through it. Everybody I know had to go through it, and it takes in some cases some time to go through that gate. But once you get through it, as I wrote back to this subscriber, your market value skyrockets. If you have a year of professional grade software development experience on your CV, it will be as night and day between when you didn't have anything on your CV. And as this person was saying that the 6 months of experience that she gathered from being an intern doesn't really mean anything, and that is not 100% true, but it's not work experience, and that is the prejudice of this industry. If you have anything besides actual real work experience, you are most of the time looked as less. You're not worth anything. And that's something that I've told you guys before. I've tried to explain that it's not anybody's fault. It's not like I'm sitting here trying to make you feel bad. I'm just trying to explain that if you are a hobby level programmer or if you do your own little side project, there is a world of difference between doing that and working in the industry. And that's where this prejudice is coming from, because the people who are hiring people are getting a lot of hobby level programmers who apply, who don't understand that there's a big difference between doing work on your own side project and doing work on a fairly sophisticated or substantial system. And that's where this really, really, really hard cutoff happens. It's the reason behind it, because nobody wants to bet on somebody who doesn't know how to do work within the IT industry. That is very unfortunate, because that also means that we don't I mean, the demand for experienced software developers is massive, yet nobody wants to invest in training new developers. So hey, there you go. I don't make the rules, guys. I'm just relaying, like, don't shoot the messenger. I'm very sorry that this is the situation, and I wish it was different, but this is the world we live in. So what can you do? Well, I wrote back to the subscriber and I explained that buckle up, first and foremost. Make sure that this is worth it to you, because as I said, once you have the first job and you stick around for around a year, because that's roughly what you need, because as soon as you put that on your CV, your demand will go up a lot. You will start to notice. I promise you that it will make a massive difference. The difference between, I mean, when you get to 5 years, you're basically human gold. 5 years is usually the magical threshold for what some companies call a senior developer. Now, senior developer is a very weird term, so let's not dive into that all that much. But around 5 years, if you have around 5 years, you're considered to be a solid developer, and that is as high as your market value will go without you doing like excess work or something like that. But even with 1 year of experience, you're going to notice a very big difference. But the problem is then, how do you get that if you don't have a job? That's the catch-22 in the whole thing. So the thing I said was very simply that you need to you can look for junior roles. There are junior roles out there, but fundamentally what you're looking for is to get people to a point where they look at your CV and they go, this person, in my gut feeling, because most people will judge you based on your gut feeling, my CV shows that I am at a junior level. That's where I am. You can do this in many ways. I suggested to her as a few examples. One thing you can do is take on freelance jobs. If you work as a freelancer, if you take on different projects, I mean, you can jot that down. I mean, you can build a website for your friend that has like a little side business or something. That doesn't really have to be anything big. You just have to get something on the CV that shows that you have some coding skills. You need proof of skill. That's all you need, and you don't have to. I mean, quality is of course always a good thing, but that's the whole problem, right? You can't get quality into a quality company because they're not going to let you, so you need to figure something out. So like, think of it as trying to bridge a distance. Like, there's a gap between where you want to be, which is in the club, like I like to call it, and being on the outside, and you just need to get close enough to the door so that people will feel comfortable with, yeah, you probably have done enough now, let's let you in. And then when you're on the inside, I promise you, most of the time you're gonna stay there, because like your value doesn't just magically go away. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is educate yourself, stand out in some fashion. You have options with like portfolio sites. I argue that usually it's better for you to build serious projects than demo sites and stuff like that, because demo sites is usually, I mean, there is a value to it, I'm not saying that, but people will raise their eyebrows more if they see that you're doing serious development work. Other things is education. You can take a lot of courses. A very hot tip for me would be to take a look at learning tools that are very trendy, that are very in demand. And there's quite a lot of companies out there who want to hire people who know certain stacks or certain tools, but it's very hard to find these people. And if you know these tools or you have them on your CV, that's the sort of incentive someone can consider when they go, oh, this person doesn't have any work experience, but they have spent a lot of time with, I don't know, Docker or Kubernetes or something like that. That's pretty interesting. Maybe we should consider, like, you just get them to make an exception or something like that. This is something that you can do as well. So what I want you to take away from this is pretty much that. I want you to know that it is true that the coronavirus has made job options for junior developers like a little bit harder, and that's not true for just software developers, it's true for most of the industry. But the thing that this subscriber is expressing, that there are no jobs for junior developers, that has nothing to do with the coronavirus. It's been that way before the coronavirus as well. Trust me, I went through it as well. Getting the first job as a junior developer is shitty. If you're really lucky, you might just sail through it and get in immediately, and if you're really unlucky, you're going to have to work for it, and you might have to work for it quite hard, because it's a big club. I'm very sorry, but it is a big club, and the club rule states that unless you already know what we need you to know before you get in, then we don't want to invest in you in general terms, because it costs a lot of money for us to train you. So what you can do is to, as I said, bridge that gap, get as close as possible to the door, and then when you're close enough so you can basically smell the paint on the thing, they might say, well, okay, we do actually need people, and you're close enough. We're going to let you in. That's what you're looking for. And the way to get there is usually you can do freelance work, you can educate yourself, take extra courses, make demo projects or things like that. Fill up that CV. Give that CV weight, because if it's paper thin, nobody in general terms is going to want to look at it. They're not going to find it very interesting. They're just going to dismiss you as somebody who is a hobby coder or someone who's not really a serious programmer. And that's, I'm very sorry to say, is the reality of the situation. Have a great day.